Welcome to the Miss Jamaica World Western Region 2025 Head-to-Head Challenge, sponsored by S Hotel Jamaica and brought to you by Garwood Streaming and Production Services. I'm your host, Winston Harrison. For this year's Head-to-Head Challenge, we will have two groups. We'll kick off things with Group 1, and we'll ask each contestant to introduce themselves.
Good evening. I am Brianna Anderson, Miss Harbor City Shopping Mall.
I am Khadijah Bolton, Miss Virgo's Electrical and Construction Limited.
I am Brianna Foster, Miss Jurgens.
I am Gavandra Gray, Miss Island Smiles Orthodontics, forecasting beautiful smiles.
Thank you for your introduction. We'll begin with Miss Anderson. Your first question. Beauty is often linked to appearance, but many individuals argue that beauty goes deeper than the outward appearance. How would you describe what true beauty is?
Thank you for that question. True beauty isn't defined as your outside appearance. That's true. It is the need to help others. It is the need to try your best in everything that you are doing to always be successful and never compare yourself with anyone else's beauty because you and other persons are totally different. I thank you.
Thank you, Miss Anderson. We'll now move on to Miss Gray for her question. The recent social issues national debate sparked conversations about inclusivity of a sign language interpreter for the deaf community. How important is inclusivity in the media, workplaces, and other institutions?
A passionate humanitarian, involving the disabled community within democratic affairs such as voting and elections is very important. They make up a wide or a majority of our society, whether it's outward disability or mental disabilities. They are tax-paying citizens, they are Jamaicans through and through, and they deserve to be included in democratic affairs.
Thank you for that response. We'll now move on to Ms. Bolton for her question. Pageants are often seen as a beauty competition, but they offer more than that as they serve as platforms to inspire, advocate, and create positive change in society. In your view, what is the true purpose of the Miss Jamaica World Western Region pageant?
Thank you. In my view, the Miss Jamaica World Western pageant is not only about beauty, it's creating change and leading stories. And also, we have to know that whenever we step out on stage, we are amplifying voices for those who cannot do it for themselves. This platform is about sisterhood in evolving change. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Ms. Bolton. And we'll now move on to Ms. Foster for her question. Many youths are faced with peer pressure and dealing with stress from school, social media, and their homes. What advice would you give to someone your age who is struggling with mental health issues, anxiety, or depression?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Harrison. Today's youth are riddled with many mental battles, from depression to smaller issues, just as sadness. I dearly, and I will remind you that tomorrow is going to come, and tomorrow is always going to be better than today. I implore you to fight for what you want, to believe in you, and to do for you, because at the end of the day, you will be there for you, and no one else will be there at the end of the day when you need to close your eyes and reflect on your day. So be true to you and be there for you.
Thank you, Ms. Foster, for your response. And I'll move to Ms. Gray for her second question. Corruption is often at the forefront of many discussions, which highlights the importance of being ethical. Ethics separates actions that builds trust from those that harm reputations. How do you ensure that your daily actions reflect ethical behavior, even when no one is watching you?
I personally believe that your actions determine your morals. So I ensure that whatever I do in my daily life, whether it be a small little minuscule thought or action or something big or major in my life, I ensure that it brings forth positivity into the world and those around me. I ensure that not only I provide or I did that action in good moral standing without any malice, so that I can ensure that I have made a lasting positive impact on my day and on my life.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. We'll now move to Ms. Bolton for her second question. Leadership is more than authority, as it has the ability to inspire, guide, and empower others to achieve a common goal. What do you think are some of the most important qualities that an effective leader should possess?
Thank you for this question. When leading our young youths, we should always lead with purpose and grace, choosing to do what is right each and every day. We should always remember that every leader is not just a great leader, but you can change the world with your stories and their hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bolton. We'll now move to Ms. Foster for her second question. Communities thrive when people actively participate in addressing local challenges, from supporting youth programs to environmental initiatives to volunteering in community projects. If you had the chance to start a volunteer project in your community, what would it focus on and why?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Harrison. I'm passionate about healthcare. I'm passionate about health wealth, and I'm passionate about wellness. That is where my passions will lie, and that is what I intend and would want to do. I would declare myself to fulfill the mission of creating an initiative where individuals can invest themselves into community service in wellness and health, where we would schedule different donation drives, different health checkups, different cleaning corners around our communities in order for them to think of themselves as developing health promotion, developing things that we as ourselves would want, because health is in everything and we have to create our own well-being. That is what I would use, and that is what I would do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Foster. Now we move to Ms. Anderson for her second question. Life is full of opportunities to make an impact, but sometimes we focus on what we cannot change rather than what we can. If you had the opportunity, what is one thing you would change in your community or country, and why?
Thank you for that question. One thing that I would change, and it also involves my Beauty with a Purpose project, is to create a community center for our youth, help them to have free education, give them more opportunities so they can have a better chance in the working environment, and also teach them how to be a better leader and how to be confident and more capable to complete any task that is thrown at them. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anderson. We'll now move into our final questions for these contestants, and we'll begin with Ms. Bolton. Numerous individuals struggle in silence when dealing with mental and emotional challenges. What do you believe can be done to create a culture where seeking professional help is normalized?
Thank you for this question. Well, we don't have a lot of mental centers opened here in our country. And in order for this to happen, we need to make aware of our mental health in this country. So this program will help not only the young, but the old to open their minds and their hearts to talking and to freeing their mind to their mental sickness. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bolton. And now we'll move to Ms. Gray for her final question. In our interconnected world, events in one country can have ripple effects from across the globe, spanning from climate crises to economic challenges. What global issue is most concerning to you right now and why?
Thank you so much for that question. The global issue that's really concerning to me right now would have to do with the recession that we're about to head starting the first quarter of next year. Now, ever since the 48th president of the United States has been announced, that would be Donald J. Trump, America has been entering a tariff war that has been draining countries' economies and would soon be moving towards the Caribbean. As we are a smaller country, we are a smaller region that is within the United States backyard. So I guess the recession that we'd be heading towards would be what's most concerning to me.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. And we'll move to Ms. Anderson for her final question. Plastic pollution is a very prominent issue that harms our oceans, rivers, and green spaces. What is one change that every individual can make to better protect our environment?
One change that everyone can make is that we recycle our plastic bottles. We dispose of our garbage properly. We store them in facilities that can better use them other than to pollute our seas and our land. It is affecting our livestock, like our fishes and other animals living in the ocean. So the best way we can do is properly dispose of our garbages, reuse all the recycling things that we can find, and always store your things in proper containers. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. And we'll move to Ms. Foster for a final question. Networking is more than exchanging business cards or social media contacts. It's about building meaningful relationships that foster growth, collaboration, and opportunity. What strategies can young people use to build a strong and supportive network, and why is it important to network?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Harrison. So we, as young people, are very vibrant on the internet. We love TikTok, we love Instagram, we converse on WhatsApp, because those are our means of communication. I implore you to use social medias as positive lights. These are the things that we're supposed to use to encourage each other, to give each other some time to think about what we should be doing, advocating for each other, advocating for a change. Networking is important because we run by these things. We run through communication, and we live to ensure that we are blessed. We run by networking. We distribute our plans, we give our schedules, we show the world what we want to see if others have the same vision, to see if others are on board, to see if others want the change that we want to see. Networking is important because we build trust and we build relationships that better our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Thank you, Ms. Gray, Ms. Bolton, and Ms. Anderson for joining me in part one of the Miss Jamaica World Western Region Head-to-Head Challenge. Stick and stay, we have part two coming up where we'll have our other 4 contestants. Welcome back to the Miss Jamaica World Western Region 2025 Head-to-Head Challenge, sponsored by S Hotel Jamaica and brought to you by Garwood Streaming and Production Services. I am your host, Winston Harrison, and with me are the second set of ladies for the Head-to-Head Challenge. I'll now ask each contestant to introduce themselves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chrisanne Higgins, and I proudly wear the sash, Jamaica Police Federation.
Hi, Jamaica. I'm Shantae Jarrett, and I represent Solace Restaurant and Lounge. Good evening. I am Tanivia Pottinger, and I am Miss Zen Eden Lounge and Spa.
Hi, Jamaica. I am Norbrina Scarlett, AgroBlends and A&R Farms.
Thank you, contestants. And I will begin with Ms. Scarlett with your first question. Across the world, women entrepreneurs encounter challenges in accessing funding and resources to support their businesses. What are some ways that you believe that society can support women who want to build their business?
Well, society can help women in their businesses through empowering them. A lot of women feel doubtful and hesitant to embark in their business journeys because a lack of confidence. And it's very important as leaders to give them that lift of hope. Sometimes they need a push to make that first step. So I inspire you today to help a young woman to start her journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Scarlett, for your response. We'll now move on to Ms. Shante Jarrett for her first question. Many students who are in pursuit of tertiary level education are often plagued financially and have to work to fund their tuition and other expenses. What more do you think can be done to improve access to scholarships, bursaries, and funding for tertiary level education?
I really appreciate that question because I am one of those students that are working to fund my tertiary education. I believe that in this society, a lot of persons want to go into business or criminology like myself. I believe that these institutions can aid in giving scholarship grants to have those persons not leave Jamaica to find better opportunities. But if we have them here and give them that aid financially, they would want to stay here to pursue their goals, just like myself. So with the Jamaica Police Federation, if you guys are willing, then I would want to stay here instead of moving away. So I believe that if all these businesses assist with these aids, it will be way better for us.
Thank you very much for your response. Ms. Higgins, over to you now, Ms. Higgins, for your first question. Financial literacy, sound financial planning, and healthy money management are critical for personal and economic stability. How can financial literacy become a part of the curriculum in schools to secure the future of our teenagers and improve their financial health?
Thank you for that question. It is important for schools to include financial literacy from as early as possible. Even basic school, even the basics of financial literacy. You save today, you invest today, you have a brighter tomorrow, right? I believe one way which you can do this is ensure that teachers that are teaching financial literacy, business classes, are actually participating in what they're teaching. How can you inspire if you're not doing the same? How can you use information to teach someone to tell them to create a business if you're not doing the same? We cannot be having a society where persons are in the same financial struggle, teaching the same information, and expecting that the young minds are going to use this information wisely. If you cannot teach it, if you cannot preach it, if you cannot walk the walk and talk the talk, how do you expect for the younger generation to want to follow in your footsteps? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Higgins. Ms. Pottinger, your first question. With the rise of income-generating avenues through technology and an increasing number of influencers on social media, there are individuals who argue that success doesn't require a degree. Do you believe that education is still the best pathway for success, and why?
I do believe that education is still the best pathway for success. As someone who has a social media presence myself, I'm also pursuing my degree in digital marketing. And what I think should be done is we align our interests and the things that we want to generate for a little income with a degree that would also add something and make us well-rounded. I mean, I learn about law, I learn about politics. It's not just digital marketing. Education will always be the foundation. It will always be the starting ground, and it will always propel us through society. It cannot take away from us. It's always important that we prioritize it.
Thank you for that lovely response, Ms. Pottinger. And for our second round of questioning, I'll begin with Ms. Jarrett and her second question. Tourism is one of Jamaica's largest industries, and many visitors come to experience our authentic culture, food, and experiences. If you were given the opportunity to promote Jamaica at a global event, what unique aspect would you highlight and why?
I would have to go for the music. The music, reggae music, put Jamaica on the map. So what better choice than reggae music? I would even dress up like Bob Marley, probably, to showcase our culture. I would also like to bring forth our folklore. That was an aspect, or ska, or reggae, the dance hall. It's something that when you think Jamaica, you go straight to that. Bob Marley, you go straight to Vybz Kartel, to Spice even. Now, that is what we are. And we are people that indulge in music to do everything. So the talent pieces that we're going to perform, they need music. And bringing across reggae music and embracing our culture, it will speak to everyone. Because as they say, when music hits you, you feel no pain.
And I certainly agree. And thank you for your response, Ms. Jarrett. And I'll move to Ms. Scarlett for her question. Many young people lack the requisite skill sets that are needed to obtain a job in this ever-evolving job market. What can be done to better equip young people to secure a job in our current job market?
Thank you for that question. So I found it actually interesting that you asked that one, because that speaks volume to me in relation to my Beauty with a Purpose project Space, Scarlett's platform for access, care, and empowerment. It focuses on skills training and giving youth the chance to be gainfully employed. I come from a community where there is a lot of violence and people are moving out. You know, they are poor. They don't have a lot of opportunities that the average person may have. So through workshops, through resources and giving back, I think that's one way in which we can expose the youth to push towards their dream jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scarlett, for a response. And we'll now push to Ms. Higgins for her next question. Technology has bridged the distance between relationships, but some individuals argue that it has made us more disconnected physically. What steps would you take to improve physical connections in this technological era?
Thank you for that question. In this era where you can literally just call someone over the phone and have a conversation with them, but yet still we're not seeing them physically, I believe that even though that is the case, and we're not physically seeing each other, we still can have a strong connection. We can still have a physical connection, because it's just a conversation that makes you feel. It's the way that you feel after you have that conversation. If you're having conversations online or through technology where you feel as if you're empty within and you're not feeling any form of connection for the person on the other end, then it's a possibility that you need to go around the persons that are around you in your immediate circle and connect with them, so you could know that you're not isolating yourself or create a situation where you no longer know how to connect with persons in the real life, and you're basically isolating yourself and not knowing how to connect yourself or show yourself to the world over the technology, such as Instagram, Facebook, etc. All of these were used as tools for us to feel closer, even though the world is so vast, so big. Now we feel as if the world is smaller, because we can talk to people from China, Africa, Australia, while here in Jamaica. So I feel personally that we can feel closer as long as we know that we're not creating a box for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Higgins. And to not create a box for ourselves, we'll now move on to Ms. Pottinger for her second question. Agriculture plays a crucial role in the Jamaican economy, but many youths are often less interested in pursuing an agricultural career. How can we encourage youth to view agriculture as a valuable and rewarding career path?
Well, as someone who did agriculture in high school, whenever I share my project Green Globe, which a big part of it is to involve youth in agriculture, I'm often asked, "You're into agriculture? You did that?" And I think it's because agriculture is not viewed as a progressive it's not viewed as a progressive career, and that needs to change, and not just in the ways that we tell youth, oh, you need to get into agriculture because it's important, but we also show them how progressive it can be. We invest in sustainable agriculture, we bring in high-tech agriculture, and we broaden the careers that are in agriculture, architecture in agriculture, engineering in agriculture, and that's a good way to allow you to feel like, hey, there is a broader horizon out there for me. It's not just for me to go in the fields and tend to them all by myself. There is so much to farming and so much to agriculture, and working hand in hand with our youth who are building this nation and those who are already here and understand agriculture is the best way for us to get our youth involved and get them to believe that there's future in agriculture, and my project Green Globe is definitely addressing that problem.
Thank you, Ms. Pottinger. We'll get Ms. Scarlett involved, not in agriculture, but in my next question. Strong communities create safer, more productive, and more supportive environments for all citizens. What initiatives or projects would you spearhead to aid with your community being more sustainable and developed?
Well, thank you for that question, firstly. When we think about community development, one word that speaks to me is leadership. So we can't do it alone. And along with leadership, another word I use is unity. And that's a big part of Project Space for me. So appointing specific leaders to certain tasks. For example, having empowerment sessions with youths, giving back to elderlies and everyone in between, because we cater to inclusivity, you know. So leadership and unity through appointing persons to be in charge of certain roles. Teamwork is a big part of my project. I have been able to merge the community center with the church, with the schools, the community's school, and all the other sectors in the community. So through unity, we would be able to develop the community more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scarlett, and a wonderful job you're doing. And we'll move to Ms. Jarrett for her final question. Artificial intelligence, AI, is one of the most rapid technological advancements of our digital age. How can we adapt to this advancement in technology to limit its impact on the future of work and education?
Well, firstly, I would say that we need to be true to ourselves. You need to know who you are besides technology, because if you are now dependent on AI, artificial intelligence, to do your work for you, to go to school for you, what are you feeding yourself? How are you making yourself better? How are you developing yourself? And to say you want to be a leader or someone of change, if you are using that as your scapegoat, how can you impact someone else when you weren't impacting yourself truthfully? So we need to learn how to use it effectively, but not have it take over ourselves and our personalities and use that as a blockage of who you really are.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jarrett. Ms. Pottinger, your final question. Poor infrastructure is often a sore point in Jamaica as it hinders progress, economic growth, and opportunities for businesses. Why is it important for the government to prioritize the improvement of Jamaica's infrastructure to better support citizens and businesses?
Well, as time goes on, one thing that will also always be constant is change. And a country needs to progress. And something like infrastructure, it demotivates businesses. It demotivates the people who are supposed to support those businesses. And we need money flowing in our country to build our economic future. And investing in the infrastructure is investing in our businesses, investing in how people choose to shop, and that's investing in our economy. And that is the sole point of any country. We need our economic flow to be good so that we can pour into our education system, our agricultural system, our health system, which are places that I believe are struggling in Jamaica. And so let's take a look at all the different areas which can be our infrastructure and take a look at how we're going to advance those areas, so what we can do to ensure that every single piece of Jamaica is working hand in hand to ensure a brighter future in every single sector.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pottinger. And our final question will go to Ms. Higgins. The title of Miss Jamaica World Western Region 2025 provides a platform to be a public figure and a role model. If you win this title, how would you use your platform to address one social issue affecting your community?
Thank you for that question. If I was given the honor of becoming Miss Jamaica World Western Region 2025, I would use this platform to be vocal and very involved in the issue of domestic violence, which primarily is my Beauty to Purpose project, Stand By Me. I want to be able to break the stigma and the silence that surrounds domestic violence. Too often, these victims feel as if they have to be ashamed or as if they're by themselves. Stand By Me will create a situation where the community gets involved. They're educated about what domestic violence is. It's not just physical, it is financial, emotional, spiritual, psychological. There's so many aspects of domestic violence and so many stigmas that surround it, and if we can break it down step by step, community by community, person by person, each one teaches one, I believe that that crucial issue that's happening in Jamaica right now will become a thing of the past very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Higgins. And I also thank you, Ms. Jarrett, Ms. Pottinger, and Ms. Scarlett for joining me here in the head-to-head challenge. And that's it, everyone, for the Miss Jamaica World Western Region 2025 head-to-head challenge. You've heard from all our contestants, and they have shared their views. We want to thank S Hotel Jamaica for sponsoring this segment, and we'd also like to thank Garwood Streaming and Production Services for capturing this beautiful moment. Thank you, and thank you again, ladies, and all the other contestants, and a pleasant viewing to you.